Today we are talking about developmental man life cycle. Why are we looking at man first? I have a passion for talking about men because man is the pillar of our society. Man is virtually the connection between so many things in our society, and when man is hurting, then the whole community and society is hurting. Least to say, the family will be left in limbo. So when we look at man, I will be concerned about developmental stages. What do we call developmental stages? Developmental stages are the transitional levels from one stage to the other as one grows. These stages are so natural, they're so smooth, God and nature has put it that they just follow one another in a sequential form. However, they have got hiccups. I can call them crisis boundaries. Moving from one level to the other takes a lot of will, a lot of power, a lot of work, and sometimes it can be confusing. I will talk of child and adolescent as the first developmental stage that each man goes through. When I talk of child and adolescent, I am looking at 0 to 17 or 18 years thereabout. This is the stage where the individual is formed. It is here that we get the person into becoming the human man that we are looking forward to. If we get it wrong here, then we are building on a faulty foundation, so to speak. When we miss it here, then we are saying the problem did not go away. Or in other words, the common statement in our society that is, I moved on. When we talk of development, it is not only the physical development, it is purely the mental development. And in mental development, anything that was not dealt with is never thrown away. You don't just move. Our minds have the ability to store stuff. And when these stuff are stored, they come to be used later at different stages of our development. And depending with how we interacted with this first level, the foundation, then it determines who I become when I will go to the other levels. So this is where we look at the young man. Did he have right attachment? In attachment, we are saying, what was the relationship between the child, the young man, the adolescent with the mother, with the father, with the caregivers, the immediate family member? Was it secure? Or it was ambivalent, disorganized? When this happens, then the young man develops a running away attitude, develops a hiding system whereby he learns a system to overcome and overlook issues. When these issues are overlooked, they don't go away. They will affect the man in the next category, where we look at ages 20 to around 28, where the man is entering early adulthood. And when he is entering this stage, he is entering the world. Now, this world sometimes can be harsh. This world sometimes can be unforgiving. This world the man is entering into can be so unkind that if the young man did not develop a right object relationship, then they will have a problem as they enter or they transit into the world. Kindly note carefully that at this stage, they are entering. The world does not ask the question, were you prepped enough? No. Were you taught well? No. Do you have the life skills that you need as you join this world? The world does not ask that. And in this case, what I am calling the world is the society. It expects you as a man to have been taught well, to have developed identity. This identity can only be found at home. The relationship you had with your father. Now here, I know some people are holding their guns and they're blazing them towards me because I know some will say, I didn't have a father. Others will say, I was raised by my mother alone. I was raised by my grandmother alone. All said, I will agree. I will only pose one question. As you grew with your mother, as you grew with your grandmother, were there uncles? Were there other men figures that you had to learn from so that you could develop identity? Now, one of the things that is so keen, which I called object relationship, it's learning through observation. You learn as a young man how men behave, how men handle problems, how men interact with conflict, how men protect, for example, women, how men work. All these are the foundational things that I am talking about. Now, when this is not well learned, when there is no relationship with the object, and in my case here, the object is the father figure, the object is the real father, the object is the uncle. And I know the society we are living today, we are living in the 10th floor, and we visit our uncles and aunties once a year. Then, who are the other caregivers who will form the observational role that will make the foundation of this young man? I had gone back one step. Now I move forward. This young man or this man is entering, facing this world. As they face this world, remember I said this world is cruel. It did not care whether there is any basic knowledge, treatment, and everything else. They throw you to the center of the ocean. And the question here is, do you have swimming gear, or do you even know how to swim? And this is where man faces real hardships. This is where pain is now manifested in its totality. Anger, frustration, bitterness, trauma is manifested here because there is no one to prep you. There is no one to run to. The world expects you to know. The man is expected to be structured, and they are not asking for anything less than that. You need, must be, should be structured well enough for you to enter this stage I am calling early adulthood. Now, if by any chance you didn't get your boundaries right, if by mistake you did not get your zones correct, then a man has a journey that is on a wrong starting. And this becomes a difficult journey for this man. When they enter now the second transition level of 30 years and above, which I call between 30 years and 44 thereabout, which I call the transition midlife stage. This is where you are expected, and please and kindly my viewer and listener, note it is an expectation. This expectation, you might not have been schooled, you might not have been prepared for it. You are expected to have married. You are expected to have had a career. You are expected to have finished school. You are expected to have and moved, developed yourself to a point where you are now a solution to your society. And this is where the rubber meets the road. The society looks up at you to become a solution giver. The society expects you to be caring. The question is, were you cared for? Were you nurtured? That is not the point here now. Here you are expected to be somebody who can be emulated. And the question here is, what ways do I have to deal with my goals? Did I meet them or did I not meet them? Now, this man who is transitioning from this midlife stage of transition or the early adulthood is asking difficult questions. Unfortunately, most of the time there's no one, the man to turn to. Allow me to take you back again to 0 to 17 years. The society, and in my case here, the society, I said, it's your family, is the community around you. It's the people you went to, the school you went to, the extended family you interacted to. All this is your immediate environment. Taught you as a man never to cry. That's a crime. Taught you men don't have feelings. That's a blatant lie. Actually, I stand here today to state that men have more deeper feelings than women. And I know people will disagree with me. I have statistical data and I have science to prove so. And because men are taught, are cultured, are trained in a negative way, they learn behaviors that are detrimental to them. And now, at 30, they have learned to cry and the tears are going down into the belly. And men can agree with me that was the drill as they grew up. Of course, the first teachers in this case are our dear mothers. Wacha kulia wewe ni mwanaume. And you can imagine a 7-year-old boy is being told that by the dear mother. It sinks right to the bone marrow. And this is the man whom the society is right now looking at the midlife to offer solutions. Where will he offer these solutions, yet he himself did not get those solutions? How can you offer from an empty vessel? How can you give empty? At this level, the man is bitter with himself. At this level, the man is annoyed with the society. And no wonder today our society is having all these things it's having. Relationships are no longer when you would be left by this girl and you accept to be left and you move on. These days, when you are left, you decide, you've left me, I will not allow any other man to have you. It is because when I was growing up as a man, I never was taught skills of conflict resolution. I was never taught how do I have healthy pursuits? How do I meet my expectations in a healthy manner? And I hope you're following me that this transition becomes a confusion. This transition becomes a bitter journey. This transition becomes a pain. This transition becomes traumatic. Kindly note I started by saying, these transitions are seamless and they are not physical. However, they are physical. What do I mean? You will see me when I am growing. At 10, I didn't have a beard. But when it will start growing, there will not be break for the society to see my beard. they will just start appearing. Now, that is what I am saying. It is not physical, yet it is. More so, transition is mental, it's psychological, it's cognitive. And this is where I want us to learn that when we lose it on the psychological aspect of development, we have lost the man. It is the mental man who wins, and we see it on the physical. Today we are complaining of a government that is not caring about its citizens. We are also complaining of corruption. This is not a big problem to deal with. It can only be dealt with from the psychological aspect. When a man decides, when a man knows inside them, in their mind, it is not okay to give a bribe, then it becomes a foundation, and they build on that foundation. Let's take Corona, for example. Because Corona is threatening our lives, it becomes very easy for us instantly to accept and start living with masks. We were not cultured, we were not trained, we have never been structured to wear a mask as our dressing. But because it is threatening our total existence, then and only then we have forced ourselves to live with it. Of course, the first few days we would leave the house without, but within a few seconds we would go back for them. Nowadays, it is a dressing code. Why? Because it has been ingrained into our psychology, into our mind, into our mental. It is a cognitive aspect of us. That is where we need to go to heal some of the ills that are killing us in our society. Then we go to the last developmental stage, which is the ages of 45 and above to 60, 70, and what have you. We call this the middle adulthood. Now, this middle adulthood is where you are entering a life where you've never been. For example, children are about to leave us. We are growing old. We have goals that we have not achieved. We have values that we believed in, but we have not lived for or ignored. We have self that was not sustained or that was neglected. This is the most painful, this is the most artful stage of development for a man. It is the stage of despair. You are realizing time is gone. It is sunset. You are realizing I am eating 50. My place of work, I have been given a notice. I am about to retire. Retire where? Do what? How will I do it? Note carefully. The problem was started at the foundation. Man was not taught. Man was not prepared. Man was not prepped. He did not have people who would have assisted them to transition from one stage, from 5 years to 10 years, from 10 to around 15. And all these are demands, all these are psychological stages that are so powerful, that are so core into helping the end man that we are looking at. And when we are at this stage now, we are at crisis. Dreams that one never achieved, plans that never took off, ideas that were never implemented, spirituality that I never lived to, relationships that hurt me, families that I broke. We were not taught to face our reality. We were not taught to know it is a transition. I have to leave the stage for someone else. I have to exit. The moment I hear 50 years, it evokes memories of pain. It evokes grief. It reminds me of pain, sense of loss, regrets, things that I did not make. To navigate the developmental stages as a man is not a walk in the park. To move this journey to become man is hard work. We need to train the young man. We need to teach the foundation, the basics, that men are the light of our society, that men are the pillars in our families, that men are the sense of identity, that men are the hope of tomorrow, that men are the people we are looking forward for an upright society, that men are the change game of our society. I am avoiding to call the man a boy child. I am saying when we teach the man, we teach a generation, we teach a culture, we teach a people, we teach togetherness, because all these things revolve, go around man, be it the constitution, be it the society, be it the leadership, be it decision making. It is all centered around man. And therefore, it is important for us to develop man with intentionality. It is therefore important for us to be purposeful to teach man, because we will change a country, we will change a society, and we will have a solution. We will not have a crisis, we will not have a problem. And therefore, that is the process, the journey of development of man. Thank you.